I'm Ben Desoto. I'm the manager of the Greater Than Collective, a record label that's out of the Illegal Pete's restaurants. So it just kind of comes out of the marketing department. It's a chance for our business to work with the music community. So I've been there for about a year. I have done booking. I've done booking at the High Dive for the last 12 plus years, and did the UMS, the Underground Music Showcase, for a few years, and played in a couple bands around town. The Greater Than Collective is a label. It represents 9 bands and 3 comedians. It is out of the marketing budget of Illegal Pete, which is very unique for a collaboration of a business. Illegal Pete, Turner, and the restaurants and the business are very involved in the community, want to be involved in the community. So this is one way for us to reach out and be part of something, especially on South Broadway, where that restaurant is. Downtown, Boulder, Fort Collins, Tucson next year. Tucson this year, I guess it'll be December this year, Tucson. And then just growing that business.
How does your business work?
How's what?
How does your business work?
What the label does is try to support Denver bands that are working and have kind of hit that plateau, which is really easy to hit in Denver and Colorado, with touring, with listening, with putting out records, with doing all the work that we can do with the band. That a band kind of feels like they're kind of out of ideas on their own. We can help them do that. That's basically it. So our bands are The New, Bud Bronson, The Good Timers, Esme Patterson, Ian Cook, Parklife, seeing if I can remember them all. Landlines, Brent Coles of You Mean Apollo, 7. The comedians are Ben Roy, Adam Caton Holland, and Andrew Orbital. So those guys have a TV show coming out in February, so we're going to put out a couple records for them, which has been great.
You guys have awesome acts in that, like, that whole setup.
I know.
It's not really a question, it's just, it's like everybody that, like, I want to go see.
Oh, good.
Happens to be part of that.
That's great.
It's really cool.
Yeah, they're all great, but there's, for some reason, none of these bands, besides maybe Esme now, has done a lot out of town, been able to get out of town, and just lack that little bit of industry support that Denver doesn't have a ton of. There are not a lot of industries in town. There's some great ones, and there's more than people realize, but there's still that. There's no licensing, or very few licensing companies that have big connections. There's not a ton of management. There's not a ton of labels. There's loads of bands, loads of venues. We do that really well, but all the other stuff is just a little bit not there. So that's what we're working on, is connecting bands with those people.
Are you looking for more acts, or are you kind of staying?
Not really, kind of. But my goal in 2016 for the label is to do less specific releases for the label and make the label more of a community organization. So we're going to work a lot more with Youth on Record, and Denver Music Summit is one of the things I've done with the city, and pairing more with the Underground Music Showcase, the UMS, and South Broadway to do more of the socially conscious stuff that is missing for that. More of the education, more of the panels, more of the business side that's missing. So that's the goal.
So are bands finding you? Are you finding them? Do you have certain criteria that you're looking for when it comes to bringing on a band or comedian?
I think it's pretty even. Most of the bands are kind of friends of the business in some way. The Epilogues, I forgot the Epilogues. The Epilogues, Nate works at the restaurants, one of the restaurants, so that kind of started there. Esme came to us because she was ready to put out her first solo record and didn't know how to do that thing. She had written these great songs and just didn't know what to do. Bud Bronson and Good Timers have this great record and this great show, but they don't know how to get out of town. Didn't know how to hire a publicist, didn't know how to get a manager. So that was what our goal was there. So it's people we've worked with in some way, people that have either played the restaurants or been involved with the community, and people that kind of share our vision of building great music. There's no specific genre, but it seems to be pretty indie rock right now.
Could you talk about UMS? And what goes into setting it up and all that?
Yeah. I went down to South by Southwest, I think it's like 10 years ago now, with Ricardo Baca, that used to be the music editor. And we just went crazy and saw as much stuff as possible. And then on the plane back, deliriously tired and hungover, and they said, "We can do this in Denver." I said, "No, that would be a terrible idea. We definitely don't want to do that." But then the next year we did. So we took that Denver poll that was usually one show and threw it on South Broadway. So it was organizing venues like Meet Me Now, and Three Kings and the High Dive, and the Legal Beats, and getting everyone kind of on the same page that wanted to celebrate Denver music first, and then Colorado music, and then just make a national festival with as much local engagement as possible. So right now it's 4 days, 25 venues, and it's like 450 bands. It's insane. It's totally insane. It's so fun.
Are you guys still trying to grow it, or just?
I don't do that anymore. I started that, did that for like 7 years, I think.
Yeah.
And then now it's the Denver Post has taken it over. It was independent for the Post, and now it's a Denver Post event. So it's in July, right?
Yeah.
4 days in July?
Yeah.
Okay. 4 days in July. And they start, I think they'll start applications pretty soon, probably. But it activates almost every space on South Broadway. So
I love it. It's like heaven for 4 days.
it is. One of the things I do is work with the Denver Arts and Venues, the arts agency under the mayor's office. So Arts and Venues, the venues part is they own Red Rocks, they own DCPA, the city owns this. Red Rocks and DCPA and a couple other venues in town, Big Nichols Building. And the arts part is the organization that supports creative businesses. So we worked with Denver Arts and Venues, WestAC, the Western Arts Federation, and did a Denver Music Summit, where we did 2 days of programming with panels, live music, guests, networking event. And we did 2 of them so far. And it's going to be every other year. So it won't be this year. It won't be 2016, it'll be 2017. We'll do another one. In 2016, we're releasing the Listen Local study, which is a study of the creative, economic impact of the creative industry of Colorado, and Denver specifically. So it will give us, if you ever heard Hickenlooper talk about music or the impact of music on the economy, he still talks about One Republic in the Thread and this one thing we have right there and how we're better than Austin. But it's just, I don't know where he got these talking points, but they're not true or real about what's happening in town. But so we're doing a study so that you can have talking points. So we can go to politicians, we can go to businesses and say, this is why this is important. This is why housing is important. This is why South Broadway entertainment corridor is important. So that's the goal.